What is something that you're a fan of, but don't want to tell people because you'll be grouped in with a really annoying fan base? Supernatural. Those extreme fangirls are fucking nuts. I enjoy the show, but I would never openly admit to it. I made that mistake a couple of times in the beginning. Never again. It is hard to be a Supernatural fan. It is even harder when you are female. I agree. People automatically assume if you're female you only like it because of the hot guys. The monsters and lore are far more interesting than swooning over the men point, although I'll admit the casts have great personalities and convention/blooper videos are a laugh. I was looking for this one. Yep, I love the show, and everybody who works on it seems great, but the fangirls, and especially the superhulock folks just, I'm glad they're happy, but I'd rather not be associated with them. It's a really well written show about two brothers traveling across America killing monsters to avenge their mom. I'm a mythology nerd, so the initial appeal for me was seeing the show tackle monsters from various mythos, La Llorona, Wendigus, demons, jinns, Bloody Mary, etc., and all the creative ways they show a classic ghost haunting. Then I got hooked on the mystery surrounding their mom's death. Definitely something that everyone can enjoy. I absolutely loved the first couple seasons because of the monster of the week approach with the undercurrent of a greater plot. I made it to season 4 I think, when that character I saw fan art everywhere of Cass was introduced. Suddenly my cool monsters were gone, and it was all about the demons and angels, so I lost interest, haha. Glad I did, since I only have fond memories for it because I stopped. For me, when I first started watching the show it almost, kind of filled the void that shows like The X-Files and Buffy the Vampire Slayer had left. The monster of the week format is what hooked me in with its old familiarity, but what kept me was the humor and the heart. I know that's cheesy. I know. The writing does often leave something to be desired, and I have straight up hated the main character's asinine behavior from time to time, but on the whole it's just a fun watch. Also, I can't say I'm one of the women who's in it for the hot guys, because, well, I'm not really that into men. Yes, I went to the convention a couple times, and it was fun, but some of the people there, they'd ask questions about insanely specific or personal stuff, like miles per gallon on the Impala or stuff about the actors' personal lives. It's so cringy. I loved the show, though I gradually stopped watching around season 6 or so. But some of the fangirls seem to know every little detail, like the exact episode the main actors met their wives, what this one-off character's in seemies, the actors' kids' birthdays. It's creepy. And if you're not as devoted as they are, you're not a real fan. Supernatural fangirls are just as exclusionary and gatekeepy about the show as the stereotypical hardcore gamer who tells you you're not a real gamer if you don't know how much Master Chief's helmet weighs. It's obnoxious and a big turn off. That's how I feel about Arrowverse stuff. Apparently you either need to be a huge DC fan, I only know what I've seen in the shows and newer movies, or be a middle schooler. I just like the fact that one of the shows is a guy hits stuff accurately with fists and arrows, another is a guy solves his problems by running really fast, and another is we don't know what to do with these characters, so we are gonna make them time travelers and it'll somehow be one of our best series. I really enjoy trying different whiskeys, notably bourbons, but I can't say I would enjoy the snobbishness, sophisticated attitudes, and overpricing that comes with it. My so works in the booze industry, and I sat in on a whiskey class they did. The facilitator said some famous person drinks/makes this whiskey. I said, you know Matthew McConaughey has an impressive collection. I hear it's alright. It was a prouder moment in my life. I'm not very witty. As a side note, Matthew McConaughey is actually the creative director at Wild Turkey and collaborated with their master distiller to make an excellent IMO bourbon called Long Branch. We just got this at the bar I work at. Had no idea what it was. Thanks for the info. Now I'm going to sell it by saying it's Matthew McConaughey's bourbon. To be completely snobby here as you move up from JD7 to a slightly higher price JD, not GJ necessarily, you'll still get the burn, but you'll find it more enjoyable at wager. Honestly just started drinking bourbon neat in the last 6 months. I started by adding water to take some of that edge off, but have since stopped, and I will pour and then wait 10 to 15 minutes before my first sip. It lets some of the burn out. Don't ask me how I DK, but it goes down easier. Weight 101 and OGD 100. Honestly probably comparable to JD7 in price but tastier. I still like a Jack and Coke or Jack and Ginger Ale though. There is nothing snobby about bourbon. Many people switch to bourbon from scotch because it's actually possible to get a good bottle for under 30. Fanfic writing. It's hard enough when you bring up you write, but it is a different level when it's fanfic. For me it's reading fanfic. I've been reading since I was 12 or 13, and for some reason I've always felt really weird about it. It might be because of how little taste I had back then. I read some terrible stuff back then, but it opened the door for some truly amazing writing. I've tried writing, but haven't the heart for it. Kudos to you who write. You give me the stories I want and need when the original works aren't enough to satisfy my appetite. You put yourself out there and spend hours of your time creating and receive nothing but the sporadic praise of random internet strangers. I actually had an awesome conversation recently where I waxed somewhat eloquent on the subject to an older colleague who'd never heard of it before. It felt so good to be proud of reading fanfiction. I'm still tentative about telling others about my reading, but I'm starting to get better about it. It's no different than reading published novels. Some fics are longer than full-length novels. They deserve to be read. I literally tell people I write short stories instead of saying fanfic. It has the worst reputation, when in reality, there are some truly amazing works out there. All your setup work is already done for you. Character background, setting, personalities, heroes and villains, what people look like. It's all there already, and you can just get right to your story idea. Not that writers don't change some of that, or occasionally nearly all of it, but you still only have to world build for the parts you changed. Plus you have an audience setting out. Fan works have much better odds of getting some attention than original content. D&D. Some people are great to play with, but my god there are a lot of toxic, socially awkward and often creepy guys in the community. People who just lack social skills and will often say lewd, inappropriate things to any girls who play in their games. Whenever I DM, if a player makes a random sexualized remark for no reason, especially to a female player, they get one warning in private. If they do it a second time they are banned. Worked well so far, but damn is it a shame that such a significant minority of players can make D&D uncomfortable for girls to play. Edit. Thanks for the gold and other awards. I've never gotten awards before, and they were a lovely surprise to wake up to. I was lucky, as a young female, to find a not sexual D&D group fast, but unfortunately a lot of my hero is super edgy and quirky. You better like him, not generic I swear. This makes it hard to look for a group as a woman or even find the courage to do so. I like the way you manage the problem. As a woman who used to play D&D and Rift and such, I appreciate your approach. The last time I played I threw a plastic lawn chair at a guy as I rage quit. That was 20 years ago. The start was this dumb shit. Him, my character begins to rape yours. Me, no. Him, yes. It's realistic. It's what he would do. Me, no. DM, I guess roll to hit. Him, I rolled a 16. Me, I don't give a shit. Him, why are you being a bitch? This is how it was back then. Me, back when, idiot, when elves and dwarves roamed the earth. It escalated in predictable ways from there. It wasn't my first run-in with this stupid crap, but it was my last. I haven't played since. Honestly I really love the universe of Harry Potter, but I really hate how some people think their house is a personality trait. Sorry I didn't call you back, I'm a Slytherin. Oh you read that book? Very Ravenclaw of you. You're giving me such Hufflepuff vibes right now. So quirky. Anime. I just watch anime because I enjoy watching animated people beat each other up. I actually never thought of Japan differently because of it. Same. I assumed it's like North America life being shown in TV shows. Not accurate, and the accurate parts are exaggerated way out of proportion. My problem is that I always meet people who have this delusion that their life must be an anime or hentai, and that if they follow that logic they'd become this popular leader with a harem. Like to just watch the shows, enjoy the merch, and don't fucking go to Japan thinking you'd be treated like a god. I can't stand the people who think they're Japanese because they've learned a few Japanese words from watching anime, or the people who act like Japan is some magical wonderland because of anime. People like that are part of the reason why the anime community as a whole gets a bad name, even though most anime fans are decent people. We're not all cringe-a-lot weebs. Seems like if you're not that, then they're the type that took cool for school. Only the best anime for them. Of course nothing that's popular or funny or a hint of fan service. That's all for the common folk, and heaven forbid, the normies. Fuck that noise. Give me the good, the bad, the trash, and everything in between. I just want to be entertained. That could be from a good story or good animation, or maybe even a damned upskirt. My problem is that I always meet people who have this delusion that their life must be an anime or hentai, and that if they follow that logic they'd become this popular leader with a harem. Like to just watch the shows, enjoy the merch, and don't fucking go to Japan thinking you'd be treated like a god. I can't stand the people who think they're Japanese because they've learned a few Japanese words from watching anime, or the people who act like Japan is some magical wonderland because of anime. People like that are part of the reason why the anime community as a whole gets a bad name, even though most anime fans are decent people.
I really love pro wrestling. Not just WWE, but stuff from Japan and Mexico too. I'm a big nerd about it. Otherwise, I'm a normal professional dude. While I've started to get over it as I've gotten older, I would hate for my clients to know how much time I spend watching punchy ballet. Edit. My new top comment is me admitting that I watch something that I don't want anyone to know I watch. Recently, this has become me. Thanks to some good friends I made a couple of years ago who got me into indie wrestling because they are super into it, I started watching NJPW and AEW and Defy, and I realized I really enjoy it. It's watching charismatic athletes do cool-ass stunt work for an hour or two with just enough of a thin veneer of story to make you care who wins. Since then I've gotten into it enough to also become one of those nerds who sometimes finds the industry meta and the history more interesting than the matches themselves. I'm also a normal professional dude, so I don't really bring it up outside of my immediate friends group, but if I meet another fan I will yammer for hours about it. Zero. Mito. I understand. Some people kinda get it. Others no way. Haven't watched in a solid year or two, but I can relate. Word. I used to big into it during the Attitude Era, but I also kinda like the 80s characters also, they were so damn grandiose. Lucha is cool to watch, but the thing that's really surprised me is how much better the women's wrestling has gotten. It's not all hair pulling and pushing, there's actual skill there now. Worst part about it was, there were always incredible women wrestlers, with great talent. They were told to slap, pull hair, do all of that stuff. Then Vince just brought in models for a bit. Now, it's fantastic. True. I remember Lita was pretty dope, haha, but I also did hear the women wrestlers now are being trained by Dean Malenko, who was a hell of a technical wrestler, so that's cool. My boyfriend was a big wrestling fan as a kid during the Attitude Era. One day when we were at Walmart he found a wrestling game for the PS4 that was cheap. I thought he'd play it for 5 minutes for the nostalgia factor and then never touch it again. Watching him excited to play was so cute. I'd ask him, who's that guy? To be polite. His excitement got me excited and interested in his interest. We started watching WWE shows on TV regularly, but it didn't take long before grew tired of the crap WWE was putting out. WWE is really shit soap opera level stories mostly, but sometimes there's just a storm that really works and that really takes off and everyone can get behind. Austin and Rock in the Attitude Era, CM Punk in 2011, Daniel Bryan in 2013, Beck Lynch in 2018, etc. The athleticism and creativity are fantastic aspects, but you also have fighters with over-the-top personalities where the matches are predetermined, thus the fight is actual about trying to create the most entertainment and drama possible rather than determine a winner. If you fancy checking it out, watch some AEW Dynamite on Wednesday or look up some of the best matches in WWE over the years. WWE Network has a free tier now and you can look up old matches. They're really good about putting great video packages together to explain the story before their bigger matches there. Basically it's a live stunt show sized with comedy and comic book good vs evil stuff. You need to get out of the mindset that it's trying to portray the stuff as a real fight. The art is working the audience and building the story of a match. It might not be the best moment to get into it, as all promotions are currently finding their way through an audience-less era. But I would recommend watching a bit of AEW or NXT if you can. The main WWE shows are shit, and have soured a lot of people to wrestling in general.
Doctor Who. I fucking love it, but good gracious is that a cringy fandom. Edit. Thanks for all the awards, your line filled with regret. I love Doctor Who, but the fangirls. The Smith girls are bad, but the Tennant girls are a whole different level of crazy. Don't get me wrong, I like the 10th Doctor, but damn, those fangirls, they are like supernatural level crazy. Oh god, I forgot about the Super Wholock fandom. If you forget about Super Wholock, you can have an extra hour in the ball pit. You just unlocked some memories that I have worked very hard at blocking from my brain forever. P.S. I like your shoelaces. I can't even watch Doctor Strange without having PTSD flashbacks from Tumblr. Super Wholock, that's it. So trash. Oh god. I used to love Super Wholock. Don't make me remember. It was terrible. I love all those, as a straight man. They're just damn good shows. I guess that would be the thing I'm embarrassed I like. There are speculations that these 3 characters were killed off by the writers because female fans responded so badly to them, and for Anna and Joe, rumor has it that this was mainly because they were originally intended to be Dean's love interests. The fandom ended up hating nearly every woman the boys developed a romantic connection to. You know how the K-pop industry bans their idols from dating because the fans get so possessive that they freak out when their fantasy of a relationship with the musicians is ruined? Kinda like that, but with fictional characters and slash pairings lol. Bella wasn't a love interest, she was just generally unpopular, which I personally don't get. It's not clear how much truth there is to these speculations. Fact is that Anna was definitely planned to have a long-term role in the series, and Castiel was supposed to die after a few episodes. The writers switched them up because Castiel was a lot more popular than her, but we don't know if that's specifically because the fans hated Anna as a love interest, or because Castiel, or Miss Collins' portrayal of him, was simply more charismatic, interesting, and attractive to the fans. So was the writing changed because Anna was too hated, or because Castiel was too loved? I love Joe and Bella and never understood the hate for them, but I must admit that I found Anna to be rather bland and Castiel was much more intriguing to me, so personally, I'm happy about that. They were both popular amongst the same fan base at the same time. 2010 was when Supernatural's 5th season finished, leading to the end of the big 5-season arc. The best defined the show. 11th Doctor started, which meant that all of 10's episodes were released, and still very popular. And the first season of Sherlock was released. It was like a planetary alignment for fans, and Tumblr was there to connect them all, and they just grew into one giant fandom. It helped that Supernatural was the only show that released a lot of episodes, so it was easy to keep track of all the shows without being exhausted. 26 episodes a year of Supernatural, 13 episodes a year of Doctor Who, 3 episodes every few years of Sherlock. Honestly, it was really the first time something like that happened, and it was a bit disturbing, because it let the more obsessive fans find each other and thrive with one another over the obsession. Where some people may have really gotten into it and then drifted away, they instead stayed, because they made friends in the community, and it became a self-feeding loop that just got creepier and creepier. I'm happy to say that, while I like/deal these shows at one point, I never got pulled in or trapped in that loop. I don't care who people's favorite doctor is. I hated the final season of Sherlock, and I still haven't watched the final season of Supernatural, and have no intention to until it's completely complete. And even then, I only started watching again after several years, because there were episodes on the free entertainment on an international flight, and I was bored.
Everyone thinks they're a Rick, but in reality they're just a Jerry. Admittedly, I have not actually watched the show aside from a few online clips, but isn't Rick an asshole? An accomplished mad scientist, of course, but an utter asshole nonetheless. Wishing to be like him seems misguided. It is. It's like wanting to be like Cartman. People don't care though. Rick is a suicidally depressed mad scientist. The worst part about that is that people make the same mistake watching him as they do watching House. Both of those characters got away with being huge assholes because they were amazingly talented geniuses. People watch them and see the fake respect they receive on the show and just emulate the only part of their personality that they are capable of, being an asshole. Then they think they are treated as someone smart and respected. I suspect it's a power thing. Rick is, actually, literally the smartest man in any room in any universe. To the point where he, canonically, outsmarted an entire city of himself from parallel dimensions. So yeah, asshole or not, I can see why people want to be him. They just lack the crucial quality of, actually being smart. I would imagine there's also a degree of self-insertion/wish fulfillment taking place too. Rick is a depressed and lonely drunk specifically because he is so smart and powerful. He's essentially reached a higher plane of existence, to the point that nothing really matters to him and he can't connect with others. Lonely, depressed drunks see this and think, that must be it. I'm simply so smart, that must be why no one likes me. It's a justification for an unsatisfying lifestyle, which is an appealing thing. I always wondered about the Ricks who are like, random guards and whatever in that world. Like, how do you reconcile yourself with being the smartest person in your dimension, but a low-level grunt compared to the you from every other dimension? Like, you're the worst you possible. You fucked up your life more than any other Rick in existence. Well, not any other Rick, but of all the Ricks who made it here, you're near the bottom. It would be like being the second-class chicken soup repair technician. You don't even get to be the first one in line to fix the chicken soup machine. Not just an asshole, but incredibly depressed. Sad and lonely, full of regret. And there's a ton of dudes online who somehow miss all that and think, haha, it's awesome how Rick is rude to people. I'm going to call myself a Rick and now I'm awesome too. Nauseated face.
I'm interested in trains. I don't want to meet anyone else who is. Interestingly, there was exactly one guy who loved trains and trams in every class I ever went to. Never more, never less. They were all shy about it, but somehow it was a known fact about them and nobody ever asked questions. Your comment made me realize this, and now I feel a bit weird thinking back about it. I went to college with a self-proclaimed railhead. The dude knew literally everything about trains. His knowledge was freaky specific. He knew train numbers and Metrolink/Amtrak routes. He could ID the manufacturer of the engine. He hung out with a group of other railheads that met weekly. They would get together and take videos of trains. I was taking the train home for the weekend, and I shit you not, I saw him and several other happy nerds cheering as the train rolled by honking its horn. I wish I had that level of interest in anything, haha. Personally, I think those elderly men who love trains and are eager to share about them are some of the coolest, nicest people. My grandpa is one of those people. He's such an awesome guy, a very chill and level-headed person. I have fond childhood memories of him taking me to the Amtrak station to watch trains on the Tuesday afternoons that he wasn't working. He's retired now. Now I like trains too. I can't afford a model layout, but I can afford to play train sim games. Hey, if you have space for a model train, get started. It's the type of thing that you don't have to spend a fortune on to start, and it grows gradually. Use your imagination and make a lot of things yourself, and you'll save a ton of money. To get you started, let me tell you that used, dry coffee grounds make the best dirt ever.